Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Beyond Dimensional. Why are we so excited today? Because Lori and I have no guest. It is just the two of us shooting the shit. We wanted to include you guys in this conversation after we just had a very detailed convo with Hayel Vera. If you guys haven't listened to those episodes, go ahead and listen to them because it's going to help give you some insight into what we are discussing. We wanted to talk more about our personal thoughts, opinions, and experiences around psychedelics. And Lori can dive into really the details of what it was like to work with Hayel and how that's kind of colored her current journey since going, because it's not just about the journey when you're in it, it's about how your body and mind reacts afterwards. So here we are. Lori, do you want to start by just walking us through what it was like to work with her?
Yeah, I talked a little bit about it on the episodes of the best part with her was the setup and the explanation. And like she definitely walks you through the experience and prepares you, right? So it's a little less scary, which was really important for me. I'm really bad at homework and pre-work. So, getting on the calls, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want the work and I love the idea of it. And then when it comes down to it, I'm like, I got to get on a call with people I don't know. I'm so antisocial. Everyone thinks I'm social. I'm so antisocial. I'm just like I think some people just are more
Yeah.
introverted and like, I don't know,
Yeah.
people think I'm an extrovert and I'm so
You're
not.
so not.
I know, only with people
Yeah.
I know. It's
Well, you
only
also
with people
like
I know.
it's a personality trait when you have to turn on, and
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
a lot of you have to do it, and especially you who
Yeah.
has worked in big corporate settings at high levels as a leader, like you have to be able to turn that on to be in a professional setting, unless you're an analytics person that's just sitting behind a computer desk, which is like it's a very small niche, right? But so
Yeah.
otherwise you have to interact with people, and you're great at communicating when
Yeah.
you're in that environment, but it's not something that it just happens all the time. Like you have to work at it, and then it's exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So when you get there and you start this ceremony, they do this kind of therapy work before you
Mhm.
even start. So we did this worksheet on, things that we wish our mother would have said to us as a child.
Oh
This
my
was
God.
no mushrooms yet. This is
Yeah.
just like roll out of bed, no
This is
food
proper
because
like
you're
group therapy shit, journaling. Yeah.
which is my worst nightmare talking about how I feel. Please, I would rather not.
Especially about your childhood.
Oh God. Right? Like, so I had no idea we were doing this. So we get in there and it's like they give us this worksheet and so we write these things out and then we partner up with someone and that person, you take turns reading wow. Woo, okay. We took turns reading each other's statements that we wish our mother would have said to us because this is all about healing the feminine line.
Interesting.
Okay, first of all, I don't have a
Okay.
lot of things I wish my mom would have said to me. Like, I'm a mother. Mothers are not perfect. Like, we do our best, right? But there's
Yeah.
not a lot that I'm like, I wish my mom would have done this and I wish my mom would have done that because I don't spend a lot of time dwelling in that space,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like, my mom did the best she could with
Yeah.
what she had, as did I.
Yeah. And
So,
that's so
okay.
beautiful that you recognize that, because a lot of
Yeah.
people they continue to live in that. And because you became a mother, in your early mid 20s, like you were able to, now you've seen that, you're like, okay, I get it a little bit, right? Like you're a different type of mother and you did a lot of things differently and in a more positive way than that for your child, and because you'll learn from it. But that's a really great quality to have in you, right? But I get it, like then you have to go back and be like, well, I'd be a different person, I would have been a different mom if she had done that. So it's hard to
That's
feel
right.
like I wish that were different.
Yeah. Yeah. And my mom was a single mom whose mother, my grandmother, basically left her alone her entire childhood. So my mom did a pretty fucking fantastic job considering
Yeah.
the circumstances. And my daughter, I'm sure is going to be going through the same thing in her life of like, how do I be better than my mom, which is what we want, right? I want her to be a
Yeah.
better parent than I was. Anyway, whatever. Um, but my worst
Better's
nightmare,
relative.
right, right,
Yeah.
right. My worst nightmare is A, analyzing how I feel, B, talking about it, and C, uh, there was
Doing it
no
publicly
medication, right, publicly, not
and
medicated,
unmedicated.
right? Like,
Totally sober.
totally like, what the fuck? So it was really great, I will say, because it was healing in its own way. I cried like a baby, which also, what is my other worst nightmare? Crying in public. Okay, I don't like that
We have
shit.
that in
You
common.
know.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
we both hate it. It's like I don't do big emotional displays with unless I'm pissed off. That's when I cry,
Yeah.
when I'm angry. So anyway, the partner that I had was amazing, and her statements that I was reading to her gutted me. Like, it was so powerful because she had such, trauma that far exceeded anything I could have experienced at all. And as a mother, I think that was probably the
Ugh.
most powerful part because I'm a mom. Um so anyway, we did that experience. I as painful as it was and as uncomfortable as it was, I would recommend it to anyone. I
That's
think
great.
it was worth it, and I think I just got lucky with the people that were there too. It was a great group of women who
Was
were
it luck?
well, right, true, probably not. I think we get drawn into it, right? They're
And
all
so
hard.
great. Well,
No, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna so great that you didn't know about that before you went. If you had
Oh, I
read
wouldn't
that
have
as
done
part of
it.
like, you would never have
Yeah,
done it.
I wouldn't have done it. Yeah, I'm just way too like, nope, see ya. I'm out. I'm out.
Have a nice life,
Feelings?
everybody.
Feelings? Oh, no, 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 no. My feelings? Oh, no, no. We can talk about your feelings or someone else's
All
all
day.
day. I could sit there with you all day and talk about your shit, but let's
Yeah.
not talk about how I feel. Good God. My daughter took me to this ceremony in Joshua Tree. We got an Airbnb. She was my designated driver so that I could do this
So you
ceremony.
didn't stay on site with people. You like everyone
No.
had their own place to stay?
Yeah, it's a whole day. So she
Okay.
dropped me off at I think 9 a.m. and then she picked me up at 8 p.m.
Wow,
So
that's a long
it
day.
was a long day. And how amazing that my daughter did this with me. Like,
Yeah.
she was like, I'll drive you, I'll be there for you just in case, because I had no idea what was going to happen. I'm
She's
like,
probably just so excited to see like, oh my God, is my mom a different person when I pick her up? Like, is she transformed? Does she have brown hair? What's happening?
well, my daughter's done mushrooms, so she understands. But I was freaked out because I don't know what to expect. I've never taken anything in my freaking life. So I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen? Anyway, so we took it, and I was really tired, so I took a little nap, right? So that you take it, I'm like kind of dozing off, and I start hearing people laughing, and they're doing their thing, and I'm feeling nothing. So it's 90 minutes in, I got the placebo mushroom, I got the fake one. Where's the real one? Nothing's happening here.
She didn't tell us about that.
I'm like, what the fuck? So anyway, finally, I start to feel something, and they tell you to keep your eyes closed, and don't pay attention to anyone else. Do your own thing, stay in your
Yeah.
own lane.
And
Don't.
every time we talk about this, I always get
Yeah.
this like image of people sitting in like some sort of wooden tree house with like that's enveloped in jungle. But I mean, clearly you're in Joshua Trees, there isn't jungle. What was the space like? Was it like a clinical
Like a
room? Was
yoga
it
studio room, like a room you would do yoga in.
okay?
Like,
All
and
right.
we had mats and like blankets
Okay.
and
But you're
pillows,
on the
and
floor.
you're on the floor in your own
Okay.
little station, almost like at
Yeah.
Orange Theory when you do a class, it's a station.
Yeah.
So you're in
So
your
you're
own
set
little
up with your
space.
good blanket, your little mat, your little
Take
pillow,
your
your little
water. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. All right.
Journaling stuff if you have it, though. I don't
Got
know.
it.
I think people were journaling. I didn't want to miss anything. So I wasn't stopping to journal or write anything down. I was just so
Yeah.
focused in what was happening, which is a bummer because I can't remember everything. But
Mm.
anyway. Um, so the first thing I saw, and I think I told you this already, was hieroglyphics.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like it was steel. So I want to say a UFO. I know it seems crazy, but it felt very UFO like it was steel or concrete or
Yeah.
shiny metal with writing everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And
And then I
etched
saw,
in or like
yeah,
paint.
etched, like
Yeah.
totally etched in. And then I started to hear in the way that I hear people, beings, whatever, talking to me, but I didn't see any beings. I never saw any being of any type, which a
It
lot
was
of
like
people do.
they
I
were
did
just
not.
around
Yep.
periphery. Okay.
Yep. And I started to feel like my body. was vibrating like I was sitting on a train track and I was the car on the train and we were riding and it was
Hmm.
like I was vibrating.
Okay,
And
interesting.
I heard this voice come in and it said, "Thank God you came home because we have a lot of work to do." And I was like, "Okay." But like you there's a lot of physical stuff here we need to work through. So you're gonna go to each shop for a bit of time. So it was like going into like this little, like I'm this car on a track and I went into a shop and then in the next shop and then the third shop.
It's like an episode of Cars, the animated, the
It was
animated.
wild.
That's cute.
It was wild.
Did you feel like they were doing something physically, or was it just the
Yeah.
vibration? Like, what
Yeah.
were the things they were working on?
Different. A lot of it was my sacral chakra.
Okay.
A lot of it was like very feminine, female organs, TMI,
Yeah.
but like that type
No.
of stuff.
Yeah.
It was just wild because I don't know what was fixed. They didn't tell me. I don't know what the process was.
Mhm.
But as I was going through it, I started to hear different things. So, one of the goddesses that I'm obsessed with since I was a kid is Isis. So, the goddess
Mhm.
Isis from Egypt, right? She's always
Okay.
been one of my pantheons.
Yeah.
And I literally, like, my first AOL username was Isis 1975.
Yeah.
Like everything was ISIS. I didn't even know much about ISIS. I don't even think I knew, probably till I was in my 20s, anything about it. Anyway, I've always wanted to
But
go to
there's like a
Egypt.
weird connection and like,
Yeah, there's like this
yeah,
connection.
I get it.
So I had a reading with Melissa St. Hilaire, who
Hmm.
we interviewed back, gosh, our third or fourth episode. And I had a
Yeah.
reading with her, and she said, "Hey, I don't know if you know much about ISIS, but she really wants to work with you." And I was like, "What?
I didn't know that
What?"
she did like God communications, God
Oh, she
connections.
does.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
she's really connected to Egypt herself and works with Egyptian
Ooh,
magic.
that checks out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, great. So before I went into the ceremony, I was like, okay, Isis, if you're around and you want to talk, let's like come to the ceremony. So she came in.
Oh, so you did a little message beforehand. You were like,
Yep.
"Hey, I'm gonna dabble, so if you want to
Yeah.
chat, I'll be in your dimension." Cool.
Wild,
That's
right?
cool. Yeah.
So she came in and she said, "I'm an ancestor for you, not just a pantheon." And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, wow, this is wild,
That's cool.
right? And she kept saying, "You need to go back to Africa." I'm like,
Okay.
okay, first of all, I've never been to Africa,
Same.
not in this lifetime. Okay,
No.
so I don't know about going back. It's never been there. Also, can we chat about my fear of reptiles for a minute?
There's
Okay.
probably a reason.
Yeah, well, this girl is not going anywhere where there are snakes and other snake like things and other reptiles.
You got to call up Leslie Wells out in England and get that hypnotized right out so that you can go explore.
Telling you what, I'm terrified of
I
all.
know, but you went to
Also,
Joshua Tree and that place is full of fucking scorpions and weird shit.
yeah, but I wasn't outside looking at pyramids and
I
in
mean,
the
that's
dirt.
not
I'm
that's not
telling
what
you.
that's not what happens.
Okay, I don't know.
I
Okay, yeah.
slept in the desert. I slept in the desert. There
Well,
was, I mean,
you had
they did
those
warn
weird
us.
ass. You had those big fucking rodent looking things in your house and the
Oh
big
yeah, that was in the
fire.
rainforest. But like when I went to Israel, like and we sleep in the Bedouin tents, like they did tell us like, hey, check your shoes in the morning in case there's scorpions.
Oh
But
hell.
like nothing actually happened to anyone. It's just
Okay.
one of
Well,
those like
my
warnings.
imagination is wild.
I
Okay.
know, I know. But
I
maybe
see
there's
Cobra crossing.
but you should look into either what the fear of snakes is or what the symbolism is because maybe there's something there that you're supposed to know about. And maybe there's a
I'm sure
connection.
that's
Maybe Isis
true.
was like into the snakes. Maybe she was like
Well, I'm
into
sure they
snakes.
all were. I'm sure
Yeah.
they were all into it.
I bet there's some sort of like weird magical connection.
I'm sure there is.
Gotta
Okay,
be.
but this gets crazier.
Come on. Give it to me.
So I'm telling her this, right? And she's like, don't worry about that. Go to Egypt. You need to go back to Africa. It's really important in this lifetime to go to Africa, right?
This is while you're in the mushroom trip. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Okay, now I'm going to pause and leave the mushroom trip and tell you why this is so wild.
Okay.
Okay, you don't know this yet. This is my first time telling even you this. Okay. So randomly one day I get a notice email notification from 23andMe that says your DNA results have been updated because they constantly check populations. Guess who has Egyptian DNA? This
Shut
one.
up. That's fucking cool.
I have 1.8%
Okay.
African and Asian DNA, also Jewish DNA,
Yeah, because we're everywhere.
right? You Jews are everywhere. Uh-huh. But how
The desert is
wild.
calling you. The desert is in you.
Okay, how wild is this?
That's cool. That's fucking cool.
It's so random. So I'm like, okay, it's literally in my DNA
Mm-hmm.
to go to Egypt. Like
Great.
going back to Africa, she's talking about like it's in my, you know, lineage,
Plan. Yes.
right?
Awesome. And it must be from your mom's side we
It's
are
not
picturing.
my dad. It is my dad.
Interesting.
And I know that only because my mom's done 23andMe, so I
Mm-hmm.
can compare our DNA. And my mom is more European than me now.
Haha.
I know.
Haha.
It's wild.
That's cool.
It's pretty wild.
That's
So
very cool.
anyway, I digress. Back to mushrooms.
Okay.
So anyway, I spent a lot of time crying. There was a lot of crying. That's mostly what I remember. And I
Was
remember
it question about that? Was it crying? Was it like or was it just like
tears.
streaming?
I
Yeah.
wasn't, yeah, I
It
wasn't
was just
like
like liquid releasing
water.
from your face. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Which you don't, I didn't even realize was happening except for that my face, everything, I was like wet
Yeah.
and I couldn't breathe. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Oh my God. And one of my ancestors comes in and they're like, open your mouth. Don't be dramatic. Breathe through your mouth. You're fine. You're not going to die. I'm like, of course, that's exactly how I would expect one of my ancestors to
Yeah.
like
Like
be. Total
shut up.
personality. Like, you're not going to die. Suck it up.
Yeah. Come on. Get it together.
Get it together. You're fine. Anyway, different ancestors came in or whatever, but I can't really remember much more than those things. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know why. I think some people remember a lot, maybe some people don't. I couldn't remember. Once it was all over, I was just super exhausted.
Yeah.
And like trying to figure out, I was trying to remember every message or everything. I don't remember everything. However,
That's okay.
think I have changed. There's interesting things that have changed about me since this experience.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them is I've always been sensitive to noise. Like I don't like loud screeching noises. The opera freaks me out. I can't handle the high pitched
Yeah.
screech. It
Yeah.
puts me literally, it fries my body, my nerves.
Like, yeah.
It's too much. I just can't. And I love the theater, but I can't handle that a certain octave.
Vibration.
Walking where I live, in LA, I walk outside, there's traffic everywhere. I can't handle traffic. The noise freaks me out. So I had this experience a couple weeks ago, going to Portland, Oregon to visit my friend and us going out on these long walks. And I was like, it was so quiet that I was like, oh my God, I need quiet. I can't live in the city anymore. I can't live where there's all this noise. Like this whole transformation happened where I become more sensitive to random things. And one of them is sound.
Oh, so it's increased your sensitivity, but in a way that's not, it sounds like it's just bringing you more awareness versus like,
It's not panic, but it's an intolerance in my body. It's
yeah,
on edge feeling. Yes.
total resistance. Like,
Yes.
eek. Yeah.
Yes. And I think
Okay.
that's meant to just push me to spend more time in nature.
Yeah.
Because
Makes
as
sense.
somebody who is sensitive anyway, who's
Hmm.
working through, my connection to spirit, I think spending more time in nature is typical, normal, expected
Hmm.
part of the process. I don't know what to call it, but
Yeah.
I think that's definitely it. But also my palate has changed.
Hmm.
So I'm starting to be more like meat, and I'm a meat eater. Kind of grosses me out a little bit.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know what I'm going to do considering I don't like any vegetables, basically. So I don't know what I'm going to eat, but I'm starting to have this transition in the way that I eat and what I want to eat. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like these things start to change.
I wonder if it's not necessarily even the meat itself, but maybe there's like maybe it's an environmental thing in terms of like if it's the
Yeah.
noise of the city and then maybe it's like the treatment of the meat. Like if you go out and live somewhere that's a little bit more natural and you're kind of living more off of the
Yep.
earth, if it makes sense. Like if you go to a
Yep. Yep.
local market and you're like, here's a fresh chicken that we just, this morning, maybe that won't be as intolerable. Like maybe there's
Maybe.
something in like
Yeah.
the removal of it from its natural environment that you're having a reaction to.
Yeah, it could be. It's very interesting. But I had a reading with Chrissy, who was on our pod
Hmm.
last, what,
Hmm.
month ago at this
Yep.
point. I had a reading with her, and that came up in our reading. And she was like, you're going to start feeling as your vibration changes, as raise your vibration level, a change in how you want to eat and what you
Hmm.
want to eat, and a focus on high vibrational foods. I'm like, yeah, it's already happening. So
Uh-huh.
these things start to change within us. And I think it's connected to the plant medicine experience
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
definitely could be. Yeah,
I feel
for
like
sure.
it's made some changes to my personality, or
That's awesome.
yeah, maybe
Well,
it'll,
your vibration.
yeah. So that's mostly my story. I'm a changed person who really can't handle sound or meat. I don't know. I don't know I'm going to eat now, but that's
Yeah.
okay.
If someone
More
really
fruit,
likes meat, do not
more
recommend.
fruits.
0 out of
Yeah,
10.
yeah. Fish, more
Yeah.
fish, you know,
Okay. Well, that's
I
fair. I mean, if
guess.
we
I
if
don't
we
know.
can't go to Sugarfish together, I think we're gonna have a problem.
Okay, no, we need to do that soon because I would love to
Yeah.
have sugar
That's
fish.
like we have to do our day of like Sugarfish and
Yes,
salt and straw.
salt and straw. That's like gotta be a
Yeah.
thing.
100%.
So that's my story. What are you thinking? Like, I totally think you should, when you're ready, you should do this
Yeah.
mushroom. I want to go. I'll go with you. We should do it together.
I mean, this sounds like a great experience. And I was just like, I was talking to my husband about it, and how he's like, oh, I think he's like, I would never do any of those things. And I was like,
Yeah, of
that's
course.
shocking, but not
Yeah,
really. Um, and the way she was talking about it, it felt like I would trust her to take me
yeah,
through the
that's right.
experience. Cause
Yeah,
I
you need
think,
somebody to trust.
yeah, like I don't feel comfortable with everybody. And I think everyone needs to definitely like take account of like who's a part of this experience
Yeah,
because it's it's a very personal journey. And if you're not comfortable, like it's not going to lead you to a good place. But I was even like, oh man, that bufo stuff sounds great. I was like 20 minutes to like go to another fucking dimension. Hell yeah, I'd do that. Yeah, the it's just the feeling in my stomach. And I think maybe the whole it kind of broadened my understanding of why I might have this kind of uh intestinal reaction, like this, like the nausea that happens for me might be my internal systems trying to control the experience and not relax into it. Because sometimes when it's like I like when we purchased the mushroom stuff from the Conscious Life Expo, and I did just one little serving of it in some tea, and I was nauseated, and I was like, this is annoying and sucks. I was like, the other part of it was like fine, but that part
yeah,
felt so annoying that I was just like, so I was like, maybe I'll try like half next time and work my way into it. But I realized that like over time, when I stopped thinking about it, it did eventually go away. So it might just be my own mental blocks that are preventing me from totally relaxing into the experience. So I need to be aware of that as if I do want to experiment, because it sounds like when you go in with that kind of resistance, it doesn't work in the
yeah.
ways that it's supposed to, and it could perhaps like backfire.
I think that we both should try the combo thing first, and
Ugh.
then so because that does the purging for you. What? But well, here's what I'll say about the mushrooms. I think it's very normal, would be very normal for people who are sensitive to foods and roughage. Like I can't process like broccoli and cauliflower. You're
Hmm.
eating a raw, disgusting ass mushroom. It can be very hard for your body to process. So I think that nausea and that, like I told you, my stomach was on fire. Like I
Hmm.
wasn't nauseous, but it was definitely speaking to me, and I was
Yeah.
concerned about
Bubble
what
guts for
but
sure.
yeah, I
Bubble
was
guts.
concerned
Yeah.
about what was going on.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if there isn't like what if we ate something first? So you're
Yeah.
not on a raw, because it's also raw stomach. What if you take medicine first? Was
Hmm.
some type of, I don't know,
I think so.
anti, yes, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
Pepto
just,
Bismol.
maybe we need to take gas X or
Yeah,
Imodium or I don't know what, but maybe they,
prep the lining.
because that shit is rough on your
Yeah,
stomach. It's rough on your intestines, I
yeah,
think. It can be if
but
you're sensitive.
totally. And they do tell you though, like a lot of people, and I'm saying like Hayel probably wouldn't necessarily say this. She'd probably say whatever feels like it's the right thing for you. But when you're like recreationally using, everyone's like, no, it has to be on an empty stomach, otherwise it
Yeah,
won't
she said
work.
that.
Like
She
it
said
doesn't
that too.
absorb. Okay, yeah. So like
She
if
said that
it's
too.
yeah, so if it's
Unless
fighting
you,
against other things,
yeah, unless you have low blood sugar or high
yeah.
blood pressure. But, I would rather eat a couple pretzels or something and take some Pepsid than not be able to do the experience because I'm focused on shitting myself. You know what I mean? Like,
Or
sorry, but that's
actually
true.
shitting myself.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
actually shitting myself. That's what I
Yeah,
was worried about with ayahuasca. That's been my whole thing with ayahuasca. You were like worried about puking. I'm like, I don't want to like shit myself. I'm sorry,
well,
but I've heard these stories. It's disgusting.
yeah, and I'm just thinking like where does everyone like go? Like what are we all fighting over the same bathroom? Is it like I'm thinking it's either you're in a tree house where you have to go into the forest
Go
or
outside.
they sit you with like a bucket
Yeah,
or you're like bridesmaid style fighting over the one bathroom because everyone needs to shit
serious.
and puke at the same time. And I'm like, this sounds like a terrible experience unless it's like stalls, in which case it's like everyone gets an assigned stall just in case. But like none of this sounds fun. Like I don't like throwing up. I mean, I don't like shitting in public either, but like I don't like throwing up by myself, let alone in a room full of other people.
No,
Like
thank you.
this is
Yeah.
sounds terrible.
Yeah, I also don't like the idea of hearing other people puke. That makes me nauseous,
100%. Or
obviously, right?
smelling it.
Yeah, well, I can't smell, but I
As
can only
oh
imagine
God.
that
It's like
smelling thing,
yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
was, yeah, I mean, when we did the ceremony, there was like five, six of us in one bathroom, and I was already thinking, man,
I'd fight a bitch.
oh,
Yeah.
this could be
I'd fight a
rough.
bitch.
I
Did
don't
anyone purge
know.
from the mushrooms?
I did. Some people did. I did
Oh,
not.
okay.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but she talked about in the episode about like you setting your intention and then asking the medicine to be gentle. And I
Yeah.
did do a lot. I was like, listen, I'm nervous. I don't take things. I want to make sure I'm ready. I did a lot of check-ins of like, am I ready for this emotionally? Am I ready for this mentally? We've talked about my battles with depression and like, having I'm not schizophrenic, thank God. But, who knows when you're depressed and you're
Hmm.
taking something, what could happen? I didn't have any problems with that, luckily, but
Good.
I did a lot of like, am I ready? Am I okay? Please be gentle. Like if I start getting sick, it's going to ruin the experience. I won't have a
Hmm.
positive experience. I won't want to do this again. Like
Yeah.
it did a lot of that. And I was very blessed that it was a great experience. I didn't have anything crazy
Good.
happen.
Good. And ironic, but I love how ironically you were like almost mad that everyone else looked like they were having the experience before you had it. You were
Yeah,
like,
I'm
wait,
like
did I
placebo.
ask too hard? Did I like no, I want something to happen. Like, what's up with this?
But at one point, I was like, all you spirits that I deal with and talk to, none of y'all are going to show up for me for this
Yeah.
experience. Like, I was having this conversation. And then they're like, did you think we weren't going to show up? Really?
Yeah.
Like, come
Like
on.
rude. Rude,
Yeah, like,
Lori.
okay, Lori. But seriously, I'm like, these people are laughing. There was somebody getting, people that were getting sick. And I was like, oh, please, I can't be doing that. But a couple people were just having a grand old time. And I'm like, okay, well, what's happening? I
Hmm.
actually, oh, by the way, they offer you a booster. So at 90 minutes in, they give you more, if you
Cool.
want more. And I was like, oh, yeah, me. I need to take more. Well, I started to take it and they were like, no, 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 hold on, slow your horses, put that down. You don't need more. You're going to be fine. Don't overdo it. I was like, oh, okay, pass on that. I had taken like a little nibble extra.
Bite.
And they're like, no,
It
no,
was like,
no, no. And then it's all started to kind of,
yeah.
you know, happen.
Give it a minute.
Yeah,
Give
they're like,
it
calm
a
down,
minute.
sister. Calm the fuck
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, back to you. I think it would be a great experience for you. I
Hmm.
I've recommended. I mean, I think it'd be a great experience for anybody who's
Yeah.
ready and open to it. You have to be ready for it, like she talked about, and you have to be willing to. um, learn things about yourself that you might not be ready to learn. I mean, there were a couple things that I, won't share here, but there were a couple things that they were telling me like, hey, you got to stop this and you got to
Hmm.
stop that. And,
Hmm.
there were some negotiations on some of my behaviors and habits where they're like, you got about a year to work through this. And then, you're going
You're
to
talking
have
about
to
the
move
guide,
on.
your guides and ancestors
Mhm.
that came to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
there,
So
what
there were
was
a few.
what's the like post experience like? Like, did she kind of wait for everyone to wind down and like, hey, after, 6 hours, she's like, okay, you guys should be, sobered up, just so you know. Like, was there any like, okay, let's discuss what happened, like
Yeah.
afterwards, do your writing? Like, what was the
Yeah. Yeah. Good question. So because my journey and experience was delayed, I
yeah,
started later than everyone else. They finished before me. So
yeah,
I was the last one. So what happens is at the end, we all bring like snacks because by the end, everyone's freaking starving. You haven't eaten all
yeah.
day, right? Your bubble guts are happening, and everybody's
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
so she told them to like, let me finish my experience, and they would start doing their thing. You're so focused on your own thing, you're not really paying attention to what's going on. So it wasn't distracting or anything. I could hear them talking, but I was still kind of in my own space. But I kind of ended about maybe 20, 30 minutes after everyone else.
Hmm.
And then you just eat together and you chit chat. And it wasn't a deep dive, but people did, experience or share their experiences a bit. And then we had a post call. She
That's
does a
great.
great, I mean, I'm telling you, she does a great job with all of
Yeah.
this. It's like there's a call afterwards and there's a little extra homework afterwards, that she prepares you for. And so, yeah, we got to do it then and then, afterwards. And we
Hmm.
have a little WhatsApp group and, um, we don't communicate still, but I'm going to share the podcast in the channel and, with
Yeah.
everyone that I was in the group with and,
Yeah.
whatever.
Did you
But
kind of have like a someone you connected more with, like your buddy or whatever? Or
with everybody, but they were all great. There was
yeah,
one, I mean, of course, I'm the old lady in the group, right? Everybody's like 20 something and 30 or something, right?
because they're all
So they're all,
exploring themselves.
yeah, I'm late to the party. I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm like almost 50,
No,
but
you're like, hey, 50's the new 20, so
I'm
you're
here.
all like 12 to me. So
Yeah, you're all, yeah, yeah. So I was like kind of the old lady of the group, but they were all great. Like everybody that was there had a great energy and was just
that's great.
really like I walked in and I felt okay because I was nervous. We talked about this. Going on my own was already a big deal. It's not something
Huge.
I would normally go do on my own. I'm not a
Hmm.
go do on my own type of person.
Hmm.
So I was already like nervous, but as soon as I walked in, I was like, okay, this
Yeah.
is gonna be fine.
And I think that it's nice that it was like the group setting, but because the intention is to have like your individual experience, you don't feel the pressure of having to like make buddies. It just sometimes is a consequence of the situation. But I like that she like that's where the psychology background for her comes into play is like she understands
Yes.
that you need the warm up, you need to do the journaling and the work that's like sober, like recognition of what your intention is. And then the after effect of like, you can't just like do the thing and go off on your life. It's like, hey, let's just make sure you guys all understand where to go from here and like how you can utilize this learning or what's next. Or that's really cool that she does that. And it's good that I like that you said everyone had the right energy and stuff, and so it was a good vibe. I wonder if she ever like does her consults, and this would have been a question from yesterday, but not even. I wonder if she ever meets people who just don't have the right intention, and she's like, "Hey, that's is not for you," or she like, or if maybe she puts people in certain cohorts that she feels like are the right vibe. I don't know. I wonder how that works.
Yeah, I don't know. And she does meet with you ahead of time before
Yeah,
you do set up a call with her before doing it. But I don't think, and I could be really wrong here. I don't think many people who are not the right people spend
find her.
much
Yeah,
time looking into these types of experiences.
yeah.
I mean, there's probably the random person who's like, I don't believe it. I'm going to try it and disprove it or whatever. But you're
Hmm.
putting yourself through a lot of work just to disprove something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Or if, but they would, there probably also are experiences that aren't as well-intentioned and thought out as hers. So there
Sure.
might be experiences where
Other,
you just
yeah.
sign up online and you show up at the spot, and a bunch of other people just show up and they give you the drugs and then you leave. But I imagine if someone's like reaching out to her and she's like, okay, let's have a 30-minute consult call and we'll intro, and they're like, ugh, this is too much work, I just want to go do it. That person probably wouldn't even go through her program. They'd find something else.
Yeah, I think that's true. The other thing I didn't mention is the whole time we're in this, experience, they're playing music and they're singing. They were singing.
Her and what's her
And Gemini, they were
Gemini,
singing.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it was the mushrooms or what, but they had the best voices ever, as far as I was concerned. But they were singing, and I got the playlist. I'll share it with you because she sent us the
Okay.
playlist of music. But it was all very, so the whole thing is very much love and women empowerment, and
Huh.
taking control of your experience and
Huh.
positivity. So they make sure that your journey that you're on is positive by piping in like all this
Yeah.
reassurance and
Full
positivity and like,
sensory. Yeah.
yeah,
Was
yeah,
it English? Were they singing in
yeah,
English and songs that
yeah.
you knew, or
I don't know
like,
the music. I mean, I know it now, but I know because it was people that I've never heard of
okay.
before singing like positive goddess
And
energy.
they were singing along.
They were singing along with it, yeah.
That's cool. I mean,
Unless
good
I
for them.
imagine, unless I hallucinated
I
it, but
know.
I'm pretty sure they were
Imagine.
singing the whole
Yeah.
time. Um,
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It was pretty cool because they sounded great and the music was great. And now I can go back and listen to the music and it triggers some of that experience. So it's a
Yeah,
good
that's
way to
smart.
kind of relive some of it.
Yeah. And they may have even had candles that in there that would help others, but not you.
God, I don't know
Because
because
you can't smell.
I'm also highly allergic to every smell on the planet.
That's fair. You probably would
So
have broken out if there was something like
I
intense.
really wouldn't have been able to breathe.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
this all sounds like good stuff. And if I were going to do it, I think the mushroom thing, I probably would have no
Starting
problems with,
there.
besides just like
Yeah.
the next couple days, I'd be like, okay, my stomach's a little fucked up. But also, I don't know if you did this or if she recommended it. Even thinking about like the ayahuasca stuff, like I know a lot of people they put you through like a cleanse beforehand. They're like, hey, kind of treat yourself like you're going to a colonoscopy so that
Yeah.
your system is as clean as it can be, because then it produces less of a harsh effect.
Yeah.
So I think I would probably do that, like be mindful of like what I'm consuming and like make sure I wasn't
Yeah.
having too much sugar and too much alcohol. I was actually listening because I love what you talked about with the vibration, because I think we don't really talk about that enough, but it's something that we got to find someone who can speak scientifically to like energy vibration
Yeah.
in the human body,
Yeah.
because there's so much to that. And I think, yeah, I'm listening to the map of consciousness, and he talks through from like negative vibrational energy all the way through to 600 plus, which is like in full enlightenment.
Mhm.
And I like what she said yesterday about alcohol being a low
Yeah.
vibrational.
Yes.
Yeah, like I always think about it as like, oh, it's actual poison, so we're like, the reaction we're having is actually a resistance to the poison, like it's
Yeah.
a side effect. And so and that's true actually of psychedelics too. It's true of acid, it's true of all the combo and the bufo, like all of those things, right? They're poison, they're secreted from an animal or a plant that's supposed to resist you because they don't want you to eat them or kill them or touch them, right?
Right.
So we're just using them in a dosage that allows us to like open up parts of our mind. But I love that she said like these actually brighten your vibrancy and your
Yeah.
vibration, like it brings it up, versus alcohol, which actually dulls your vibration
Yep.
and lowers it. So that really stuck with me. And yesterday when I had the opportunity to like have a drink at my house, I was like, I don't want to be in a low vibration space. Like I need to get
Yeah.
work done. I want to be focused. And I just it kind of hit me different, which was
Yeah.
cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting the things that we don't consider as impacting our vibration. Like food for me. I never thought about high vibration versus low vibration food.
Hmm.
Okay, it never occurred to me, right?
Yeah.
It never occurred to me that listening to certain types of music that are sad or like negative or depressive can lower your vibration. Like
Hmm.
everything we do, anything that goes into our mind and we process like impacts our vibration, which
Yeah.
makes sense, but
Yeah.
I never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
I had to learn that. I never would have thought of that. I mean, unless someone tells you and you start really spending time discovering, how all of this works, who I wouldn't know.
Yeah. But and I loved her story, and her perspective on it is so interesting because it sounds like she was kind of, "Oh, hi Carl. Look at your
This guy,
PJs."
he's so
I
high
love him.
maintenance. If you're
I
if you
know,
guys
but
are
he's so
ever
cute.
able to look at the video, you can see little Carl's face. He's so
He's so
pathetic.
cute. I know, he's
But
so
high
cute.
maintenance
Look at
Bubba, high
him.
maintenance buddy with his ducky jams. Anyway,
Ducky Jammy Jams. I
he's,
love him.
oh
I
my
need a
God,
snuggle.
he's
I
so
need
out
a
of
Carl
control.
snuggle. So cute.
But
Um,
yeah, anyway, sorry.
yeah, but it's no, no, like how lucky for her to have been born into a family where she kind of immediately understood, and her father didn't get sucked into the low vibration of the church and hit their negativity towards homosexuality or all those things. Like there's so many different energies that she was exposed to that could have flipped it, and that for many others, including you and me in certain instances, like they affect you in different ways, but that she had someone in her camp to say no, like let's, like, it's your choice, but you're going to go towards the things that
Yeah.
vibrate with you, right? And that's such an interesting
Well, some
concept to
people,
think about.
yeah, some people come to this incarnation on earth to help others, and she's one of them.
Hmm.
Right? I think there are just people who, literally have the purpose and
Hmm.
are guided along that path.
Hmm.
Yeah, as their human experience. So
I've had,
yeah,
yeah, 100%. And I've had the feeling recently, that because I mean, everyone's trauma is different, blah blah blah, but there are definitely, like, I'm very lucky in the sense of the way that I was raised in my situation, but I've had a feeling recently that, like, I'm the healing I want to help people with now is because of stuff I had to deal with in other lives. I brought other things with me.
sure,
It's
we
not
do.
from
That's right.
now. Yeah,
Oh
thousand
yeah,
percent.
that's
Yeah.
very, very true. But everything from our past life, not everything, but the major lessons from our past life show up in this life because we're still working through them.
Yeah.
Right. So the reason we come back to Earth this time or to this planet at this time is to work through some type of lesson or to help someone else work through their lesson. And we made that soul contract to come here just to help them. I think that's part of the human experience. People really should be paying attention to things that pop up for them that might be connected to their past lives.
Hmm.
Like we've talked for me about my connection to Buddhism,
Yeah.
and how I studied it, and then all of a sudden got all these Buddhist tattoos, and I was just in the space of like focusing on it, and then found out how many incarnations I've had as a Buddhist monk. So there's a connection. If you start really thinking about these things in your life that are themes that you're like, where did this come up? Like Isis,
Yeah.
where does this come from? I
Yeah.
didn't, I didn't know about this. It
Hmm.
comes from your DNA in this life. It comes from other lives. There's connections and themes woven in that if we really take the time to pay attention to, I think we
Hmm.
can find them.
Yeah.
And is
They're like
everyone have
Easter
that?
eggs.
May not, but yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You like
Exactly.
leave yourself clues.
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
Can
Yeah,
you
it's cool
think
to
of
think about.
anything for you? Can you think of anything?
I'm trying to think of something that I couldn't kind of just chalk up to, like, I love elephants, but I think going back to it, my name's Elizabeth, so everything was always marked with E is for elephant. And so I think I developed this kind of thing. But I think even my penchant for, like, creativity or performance or just like art, there's definitely something in my lineage about, like, the storytelling aspect in terms of in how we express in that way. But I don't know.
So it's
Mm.
coming through that you've had a couple past lives and a couple, two, three, four, as like a stage actor. So I
Mm.
guess, was it way back when men played women on stage because women
Hmm.
couldn't be on
Yep.
stage?
Yep.
Okay, so you had a couple lives where you were the male actor playing the parts, the female parts, subbing
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. That checks out.
So they're definitely showing me that for you.
Mm.
And also, you've had a recent lifetime where you were the court jester. Is that what they call,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
there's not is that the right term? Like the
Yeah.
one that was
The
there.
entertainer that comes in and does like
Yes,
makes people
yes.
laugh and does the like, yeah.
I was the one that did the readings for the royalty. Like their
You were like
seer
their,
years.
yes.
I did that. You did the entertaining and the court jester.
Hmm.
They're using that terminology, so I'm thinking that's exactly what it is.
How very medieval.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm asking, and we can cut this out if you want, but I'm
Oh,
just
I
while
don't
it's
care.
coming on, I'm gonna tell you, but
Yeah.
I'm asking about anything else, and they're saying that you were in some movies, like the
Like the
beginning,
talkies,
yeah, the beginning filming. I don't know when filming started. When did people
the
start
20s
filming?
and 30s, 20s and 30s.
Yeah, because that wasn't that long ago.
No,
Yeah,
it
so
was
you had
not.
some experience being in film, silent
Yeah.
film of some type. So you've got a lot of creative, entertaining, yeah, lives.
Yeah. Because that makes sense because I think my inclination for performance, it didn't manifest in that way, obviously, in this lifetime, because that's not
Yep,
what I'm pursuing. And I
yep,
think there's, yeah, it's like it's almost like, okay, I lived that one and I enjoy it. And but like let's utilize what the strengths are from it in a different way.
yeah. But you still had
So
to
that makes
draw
sense.
to it, right, from the
Yeah,
beginning?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
They're
you have
like, she needs a Leo energy to go.
is your family, like your mom, your dad, aunts, cousins, uncles, whatever, are they talented in the way that you are, like musical and
My
stage?
My mom, so my dad's mother is was a classical pianist and did modern dance and things like that. She liked
I
to
did know
perform, but
that.
she was, yeah.
Okay.
And my mom played flute and piccolo, so they were musical. My dad is just more of just the entertainer from the sidelines, but my dad's brother is an actor. A working, struggling actor. And not like
Yeah,
someone knows who he is, but
yeah,
um, yeah, I think the arts run deep in my family, but also as the lineage of Jews, like the storytelling aspect and the performance and the like entertainer gene for sure. I
yeah.
think there's
So it's
always
in
a
this
little bit of that.
connected in this lifetime too.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You're probably
Yeah.
I think you're related to in this lifetime, like a lot of royal entertainers. They're telling me like royalty, like people who performed for the royals were part of that
Mm.
inner circle. Like you have a lot of that in this connection to this life
Oh,
as
that's
well.
cool. I
So
gotta do
that's,
my 23andMe. Didn't they shut it down or something? What
I don't
happened
know.
with that?
Now I'm afraid it's, my DNA is going to be planted on some, international crime. My brother's convinced me,
Uh,
but,
of course
he's
he
like,
did.
oh my God,
They have
you know,
access to all of your stuff.
all your stuff. I'm like, oh
Like,
God, here
come
we
on.
go.
If they really wanted it, they would have had it anyway. They can
I
take
mean,
it however they want. And like, you can't, there's no such
I
thing as privacy anymore, you guys. Like, there's just not. And if at the end of the day, we're all one, who cares?
If they really want to plant my DNA at some international crime, I mean, there's just
Yeah.
I'm not that important. This is what, at the end of the
Thank
day,
you.
I'm just
That's how
not
I
that
feel.
fucking important. Okay. Nobody care. That woman right there, she'll be the
Yeah.
one who kills the czar of
Yeah.
China. Like, it's not going to happen. Like,
The one
come
who
on.
barely wants to show up to a mushroom retreat by herself went
Yeah.
all the way and Kurt murdered okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That checks out.
Yeah. I'm just not
Sure.
that clever, by the way, or conniving or,
Same. I watch some of these spy shows and I'm like, who even writes this shit? Like,
I
how
don't
do
know.
you think of something so convoluted in the most intelligent way? I'm just like, I love a puzzle, but fuck, man, like the people who do this in real life, and Josh and I actually started, I know this is not related, kind of related. Josh and I started watching Surviving Black Hawk Down last night, which
Oh,
is like the documentary that actually talks to the people who were a part of Black
oh,
Hawk Down, which
interesting.
I didn't
Yeah.
even know was I was like, okay, I guess I've never seen the movie,
It's a good
but
movie.
it's wild. Yeah, they're talking about like they're talking to real US Army Rangers and Delta Force, officers and stuff. I was just like, holy shit, the people like the training that these guys have, because you watch movies that it's where it's made up but it's based on these guys, and I'm like, holy shit, they could like murder you with their pinky. Like there's
It's wild.
so much crazy shit, and to think like, well, duh, they have PTSD. No shit.
I know. It's
They
wild.
just murk people all day long. Anyway,
It's pretty wild.
it's yeah,
It's pretty wild.
the level of intellect it takes to be sneaky fuck. I'm like,
I'm not that creative. I'm not that. evil for one, because not the military people, but like to commit a murder and like
Yeah.
think of all these things. I'm just
Yeah.
not, I don't have that in my DNA. Thank God.
No. Yeah, I'm just not that savvy
Me neither. I don't
or
have the
like
energy either. It's a
or
lot of work.
convincing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of freaking work. I just don't.
It's so much work.
Yeah, I'm not into that. No.
Yeah. Even like an Ocean's 11 thing. I'm like, that's cool, but like how do you think of all the shit? I'd be like, I'm tired. Like, let's just I don't care.
But it's too much
I'm
work.
like 8 million sounds nice, but like I'm tired.
Too much work.
It's too much. All right, so
Seriously.
moral of today's episode is that Lori and I are too lazy to care about being rich right now.
Committed
No.
jinx.
Yeah, we'd rather have it take 40 years and do very little than to have it all fall in our laps because we're just so brilliant that we can get it done in a weekend. So no one's coming for us is the end of that
Right.
story
Go
because
do
we're
your
just,
23andMe.
yes, I'll have to go
Just
do that.
do it. Just see what happens.
Yeah,
For
it's
sure.
cool. Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Well,
this was fun to discuss,
yeah.
everybody. If you have thoughts about or experiences from
Yeah.
your
Let
own
us know.
psychedelic journeys, we want to hear about it.
Yeah, send us a text.
So,
Send us an
yeah,
email.
yeah,
Do
talk
it.
to us. Give us
Why
the
not?
deets.
We love
Yeah.
it.
If you know somebody else who does a great journey and whatever, we'll put them in a resource of like, hey, go see these people as like your gurus in psychedelic drugs.
For
That's
sure.
it, everybody.
All
We're gonna
right.
get back on our
Excellent.
broomsticks and fly the fuck out of here. But have a lovely, lovely day
All
wherever
right.
you are.
Carl says goodbye. Bye.
Bye, Carl.